What we're now going to hear from is a panel of 3 of your colleagues, 3 experts, on how we tease out the various sections of having a successful program in A&R. So we've got 3 presenters, each to talk about a different element of designing a successful program. The needs assessment, the community engagement, and then the measuring outcomes and impacts. And keep in mind that everyone who's talking about it are folks just like you. They're academics, advisors in the field doing community work, working on community issues. So really tap into what they're going to share with you because they're living it every day just like you will. So I'd like to introduce Devii Rao. She is a Livestock and Natural Resources Advisor in Sonoma County and Marin County, and also kind of an acting county director in San Benito County. If you want to know about that arrangement, we can talk about it later. But Devi's going to talk about conducting an informal needs assessment for a new program. So Devii, welcome.
Thank you, Lynn. I'm going to use the microphone because my voice isn't very strong today. Okay, can you guys hear me okay? Great, thanks. I'm going to come a little bit closer. Okay, so yes, Lynn set the stage very nicely for me about the importance for needs assessment, and I've been with UC Cooperative Extension for about 10 years now. When I started, I was a Livestock and Natural Resources Advisor in San Benito, Monterey, and Santa Cruz counties, and then just as of January, I've transferred to being the Livestock and Natural Resources Advisor in Sonoma and Marin Counties. So I'm going to actually talk to you today about multiple needs assessments I've been involved in, and kind of different strategies and approaches you can take depending on the situation and your clientele and the stage of your career and your interests. So when I first started in San Benito, Monterey, and Santa Cruz, Lynn was the county director down there at the time in San Benito County, and she was great to have and to kind of guide me as I started my very first needs assessment. And so what she really encouraged me to do was to tie the questions I asked in my needs assessment to the strategic initiatives. And so there's, I don't know, four or five strategic initiatives. I chose the one that was most relevant to my program, and I asked questions very specifically related to what was outlined in those strategic initiatives. And the strategic initiatives, if you're not familiar with them, are initiatives identified by UC and A&R to sort of guide our programs and our focus. We're at a point right now where my understanding is those strategic initiatives are sort of going to be going away and maybe in some way are being replaced by the Strategic Vision 2040, and I'll talk about that a little bit as well, a little bit later on. So when I first started, I viewed myself as having 2 different clientele groups. One clientele group was ranchers, mostly beef producers in my community, and then also my second clientele group was agencies, nonprofits, and other organizations that work with livestock producers. And so my needs assessment, I wasn't sort of a fly by the seat of my pants kind of person. I wanted to have a survey with specific questions outlined. And so I developed some questions, like I mentioned, specifically related to the strategic initiatives. But I really wanted to have that in-person, one-on-one interaction with my clientele, especially with ranchers. With agency folks, it's sometimes a little bit easier. You can get to know them at various meetings. They're more willing to do emails or phone calls. But with ranchers, I really wanted to have that one-on-one in person. And so that's how I did my needs assessment, actually, for both groups. I sat down, I went to different ranches, sat in the kitchens or the pickup truck of various ranchers and asked all of my questions, and then I did the same with agency folks as well. In the end, I kind of went through all of my answers. So some of the questions were like yes, no questions or multiple choice questions, but a lot of the questions were really more open-ended questions. I wanted to really understand what are your needs, what are the issues, what are the things you're really struggling with. And so I went through all of those responses and tried to kind of categorize the different responses into different themes and prioritize what were the themes or the topic areas that most people were concerned about, and that kind of overlapped. And I did it for the rancher group alone, and then I did that for the agency group as well, so I could kind of compare the two different groups. And I ended up making kind of just like a chart that showed the top priority projects and kind of most important to least important in terms of numbers of people who identified that as an issue. And so some of the topics I maybe just did a workshop on, and some of the topics I really dug into and started doing research projects around. I did not publish that research at that time. I was just getting started with UC Cooperative Extension. I wasn't planning to kind of take it to the next level, but I will also talk to you about what I'm doing now, and my hope is, with my new needs assessment that I'm doing for Sonoma and Marin Counties, my hope is to get it published. I know some advisors, Susie Coker is one advisor who has published a needs assessment, and some of the dairy advisors have also published their needs assessments. I think some of the fire working group, there was a whole group of fire advisors who worked together on a collaborative needs assessment, and I think they're probably working on publishing that as well. So some people publish, some people don't. Either way is fine, as long as it's really kind of helping guide you to develop the research and education program that you're going to be doing. So in addition to that a little bit more formalized needs assessment where I sat down with ranchers and agency folks and did a survey, later on in my career down in San Benito County, I really, needs assessments can come in different ways. I go to cattlemen's meetings regularly. We have county cattlemen's meetings. So one time I was at a San Benito County Cattlemen's Association meeting, and one of the ranchers was like, "Why is no one looking at the influence of livestock grazing and reduction of fire fuels?" It was when fires were starting to become this big issue in California. And so I thought, wow, that's interesting. And somebody made a comment, "Why isn't UC Cooperative Extension doing this?" And I thought, well, I'm UC Cooperative Extension. Maybe I should work on that. So that, a needs assessment could be as simple as that, being in the right place at the right time, hearing a conversation and being part of the conversation. So that led to a research project that we ended up publishing in California Agriculture. Another kind of needs assessment that I did was over a series, I would say, of 2 or 3 years. Every year we do a weed management area meeting for ranchers where they can get continuing education credits for their pesticide licenses. And one year somebody suggested, why don't we do a workshop on prescribed fire for weed control? And one of the ranchers I mentioned that to one of the ranchers in my community, and they were like, "Don't even bring that up. Ranchers are gonna get angry. They used to be able to do prescribed fire a lot. They haven't been able to do it in years. They're just gonna get mad. Don't even bring it up." Somehow we ended up doing it anyway. We invited someone from CAL FIRE to come, someone from the Air Board to come, and it was a hit having those folks come and talk about prescribed fire. And so the next year, they asked for that same talk again, and they wanted to hear about prescribed fire again. And then I thought, oh, that's surprising and interesting. And so I did sort of a series of needs assessments after that. Not so much needs assessments, but at the end of different workshops I did like an evaluation form and asked them about what's your interest in prescribed fire? Do you want to learn more about prescribed fire? If there were a prescribed burn association in the county, is this something you would want to participate in? And so then we started doing more and more like small workshops to larger workshops on prescribed fire. Eventually, Lainey Quinn Davidson and Jeff Stackhouse, 2 advisors from Humboldt County, actually had some extra funding. They came down, we did a prescribed burn in San Benito County with their help and their funding. And at the end of that workshop, that prescribed burn training that we did, my evaluation question was, should UC Cooperative Extension develop a prescribed burn association in San Benito, Monterey, and Santa Cruz? And it was a resounding yes. So then I applied for a couple CAL FIRE grants, we got the funding, we got the Prescribed Burn Association going. So there's kind of different ways I've been involved in doing needs assessment, from the very sit down formal survey to being at a meeting at the right place at the right time, to kind of getting a glimpse over time of, this is interesting, there seems to be more interest, what can we do here? So that kind of leads to where I am now in Sonoma County and I almost said Monterey, I don't know, and Marin, Sonoma and Marin Counties. brand new advisor up there. I've been there since January. I'm super excited to be up there. This is a community that I've been involved in kind of historically, so I know about some of the needs, but maybe my knowledge is a little bit old. And this time, in doing my needs assessment, I decided if I'm gonna go through all of that effort to sit down and talk to a whole bunch of people or do a formal needs assessment, I wanna take it one step further and try to publish it this time. And so I reached out to Vikram, who's in the back here, who I think you're gonna be hearing from later, to Vikram and to Kit Alviz, to see what recommendations they might have for me for specific methodologies or approaches to do a needs assessment in a way that is publishable. And these guys are so amazing to work with. They have so much valuable information. And so I want to talk a little bit about what we're planning for this new needs assessment. So this is actually going to be a collaborative needs assessment with Julie Finzel, who is another livestock advisor based out of Bakersfield. She has been in her job for more than 10 years. She started before me, but she said she's seeing kind of a change in her clientele. The ranchers that she works with are kind of, I don't know that ranchers really ever retire, but they're not out there as much, and she's starting to now work with the children of the ranchers that she used to work with before, and so there's some new interests, new needs, and so she wants to redo her needs assessment as well. So we thought maybe we could try to collaborate on a needs assessment together. So the two of us reached out to Vikram and to Kit, and like I mentioned before, in my first needs assessment, I really tried to tie it back to the strategic initiatives, but now we have the UC A&R Strategic Vision 2040, where UC has identified 7 challenges that we're gonna be focusing on, and the first 3 are related to UC's research and programming core, and those 3 are agriculture and food systems, natural ecosystems and working landscapes, and thriving people and communities. And then the remaining 4 are overarching and impact all areas of UC A&R research and programmatic activity. And those 4 are climate change, innovation, regulations, policy and compliance, and systemic inequities. So for my program, I'll be focusing on the agriculture and food systems, the natural ecosystems and working landscapes, climate change, and regulation and policy and compliance. I think those are the ones that most relate to the work that I expect to be doing. So the questions that we ask, Julie and I ask in our needs assessment, we will try to tie back to those 4 different areas identified in UC A&R Strategic Vision 2040. So our current plan, like I did with my original needs assessment, Julie and I both want to do in-person interviews with ranchers, but we're gonna develop a survey questionnaire that's a little bit more informal and not so government speak, like my first one was. So we're gonna develop that questionnaire and do in-person interviews for ranchers. For the agency folks, we're gonna take a different approach that I've never used before, and this is something that Vikram and Kit recommended to us. And let me see, I wrote it down here so I get it right. Importance Performance Analysis Framework, IPA. So it's a quantitative method to identify clientele needs and prioritize program activities that should get more time and resources. And so in the end, once you've done this IPA, Importance Performance Analysis, this is not in-person interviews. So for my agency folks, I'm gonna do this IPA. It's gonna be like an online survey where we identify questions that are more specifically targeted to the agencies and nonprofits. And then we will analyze the responses, and the kind of result of the analysis this is the one slide I wish I had for you guys. But the result of the analysis is basically a graph that's broken up into 4 quadrants. And the 4 quadrants that are identified are, quadrant 1 is like areas where you can improve information delivery. The second one is areas where you maintain focus on certain issues that you've already been addressing or that UC has already been addressing. And so it's broken down into the x-axis is like satisfaction. How satisfied are your clientele with your programming and the resources available? And then the y-axis is priority. How important is this particular topic or theme to your clientele? So Yeah, so the first one is where the priority is high. And then the second two quadrants are where the priority is low, but the satisfaction is either low or high. And so those areas maybe are going to be lower priority areas to focus on, but still areas to kind of keep an eye on. And so based on the results of that IPA, we will make a determination of whether or not to do a secondary. I think method is the wrong word. What is the right word, Vikram? Anyway, a secondary strategy, I'll say. So we might do focus groups or we might do another strategy, but we'll see kind of how our results turn out and see whether or not we really need to do that. If you're going to publish, you do have to do IRB, which Institutional Review Board, okay, thank you, which is a process where you have to put in all of the information about what you're doing and why and what it's intended to be used for, and it has to be approved. And I understand that that can be quite a long process, or it can go fairly quickly. I don't know why. Sometimes it's slow and sometimes it's fast. But we're hoping that that goes fast. Once we develop the needs assessment questions, we will then do IRB so that we can then publish. And we will basically, once we have the results of our needs assessments, we will then prioritize what are we going to do with the results, like what kind of programming, educational or research are we going to do. And so my approach to that is, okay, what are the highest needs of the community? What are my skills and my areas of interest and my capacity, and where do those align, and really focus on those areas. And something that I learned over the years, when I first started, I wasn't as focused on impact, and I think over the last 10 years, UC has really increased the emphasis on impact, or at least I've seen that be emphasized more. And so I think this time around, I also, in terms of identifying which areas to prioritize to work on, I also want to think about which of these topics or themes is going to have the most impact, as opposed to which might be more interesting or what project can I just get started really quickly. But think about which of these projects will have the ability to have more impact that you can show in your PR, or I can show in my PR. So those are some things to consider. And yeah, I think that is it. And I think I'm over time.
So there's a few things that Devii mentioned that I just want to point out. When she did her first needs assessment, she thought about things that she could do research on and things she could do workshops on. So that extension component, right, equally as important in your position. However, what she also said is by doing those prescribed fire workshops, that led them to a research project. So be thinking about how things can change over time based upon how the clientele respond and how their needs change. Because what might start out is just providing, what you may start out doing by providing information could lead to a larger project in the end. So be flexible. And then the other thing that I'll share is that, she talked about her new project with Julie Finzel, and Julie's kind of interest in this because she is seeing a change in the needs of her clientele. So I think that really kind of zeroes in on the idea that this needs assessment process ebbs and flows and changes over time. So be thinking about how you stay current with the needs of your clientele. Vivian.
A very quick question. So because you're going through IRB and you want to be able to publish these interviews, with the farmer interviews you mentioned in a truck or in a field, are you planning to record those interviews, or will you be taking notes, or how do you balance that?
I think taking notes. I don't know how comfortable I would be asking a rancher if I can record an interview with them, but I've many times in the past taken notes with conversations with ranchers, so I would just ask, I will just ask them up front, is it okay if I take notes during our conversation?
Thank you.
So next I would like to thank you, Devii.